Hi, this is Damien Marie AtHope, and I'm an Axiological Atheist. And I'm here with Samuel Paxton. Samuel, why don't you tell us who you are and why, or what kind of atheist you are?
I'm Samuel Paxton, and I would call myself just an ordinary atheist. I'm anti-religionist atheist, I guess you could say. And that's for all religions, not just a Christian religion or all religions I've ever found. I'm anti-religion, but especially for the Christian faith, and that's because that's the one that forces her views on us the most.
Okay, and could you tell us about when did you become an atheist?
I came to atheist in my 30s. Once I taught myself to read and I started reading the Bible, and the more of the Bible I read, the less of the Bible I could believe. Now, of course, that doesn't mean I was an atheist for all God. No, that's not what turned me an atheist for all gods. It's that any religion I've ever read has been just as silly and idiotic that I just can't see how anyone can believe the nonsense in the Bible. So and that's Quran, and numerous of others. I've never found a religion that I thought wasn't just idiotic.
Yeah,
That's what I.
so, and what age
Go
was
ahead.
that? What
I'd
age?
say 31, 32.
When
I'm
you became
47 now.
right? Yeah, I became an
So,
atheist at 36, so I
oh yeah.
understand. Yeah, but I never doubted until then. Did you doubt it at a younger age?
I doubted it. I guess you could say I doubted it. I doubted the church, and I never believed in really organized religion. I believed in a God, and I'd say I believed in the Christian God because that's what I was raised. But I never was, a hardcore Christian or anything like that. But yeah, I had my doubts, but not enough of doubt to say I wasn't a believer.
Okay.
I was still a very strong believer in God, and what I was told until I actually was able to read the Bible for myself. The more I read, the less I could believe.
Mm.
I just, the talking snake, the, talking donkey, just on and on and on, living in a well, and just crazy things like that. It's like, how can anyone believe this stuff? Just how? And then later find out like the Great Flood that we went back, I forget how many million years, and said that it's never happened. We've never had the earth completely flooded. It's never happened. And the more I found, the less I could believe. I
All
just
right.
could not no longer believe.
Yeah, I can understand that. So, and what kind of Christian would you say you were denomination or something?
I was raised Baptist, is what I was raised.
Mm.
And now, what kind of Christian was I? Well, I was one that believed doing good for others, if you could do it for others, helping others, Well, the part that they tell you that all Christians are supposed to be about, but very few are. And so I tried helping others, doing for others, not expecting things in return. If I could have something and you needed it, well, I would give it to you. That's just the type of person I am.
All right.
That hasn't changed. I'm still that way. But I realized that I didn't need God or book to be that way. That God wasn't making me that way. I was making myself that way. It didn't have anything to do with the religion.
All right. So what was your life like as a child?
Well, I was, come from a pretty abusive family, I and was on my own at 13, so I've had a pretty rough childhood, but again, that's not what made me an atheist. It is what made me an anti-religionist, was, going to churches, being abused by pastors or being turned down for food at 14, 15 years old, them to just see you at a field that they own, and call the police on you because you're camping on their field instead of coming over there and offering you help, and so that's what actually made me an anti-religionist, but it's not what made me an atheist.
Okay. So, and why were you on your own at the 13?
Well, I just had a mother that just didn't care less. I never met my dad, never knew him, and she remarried to my stepdad, and he was a severe drunk and a very very abusive. And well, I should tell you that my parents never had a gun, but a friend of mine got a 22 rifle for his birthday, and he brought it over to show us. Well, his parents came home, and he wasn't supposed to take it out of the house, so he hid it at our house until he could get it home. Well, that night, as usual, my dad got drunk, and he started hitting on my mom. And I grabbed that 22 rifle, stuck it right between his head, told him if he made another move towards my mama, I was going to blow his brains out. Well, the next day I come home from school and find my clothes in a paper bag, and with the note on it says, "Bye bye, you don't live here no more." And that's how I found out I was homeless.
Wow. And were they Christian? You said that they were Baptist?
They were Baptist, yeah. They weren't, hardcore Sunday meeting Christians. My mom is now, but at the time, no, she wasn't. She called them Christians, and they believed in the Bible, but they weren't ones that went to church every Sunday. Christians, But yeah, they were Christians.
So they
still are.
Well, I'm just saying, and they're kicking their kid out on the street. That's.
Oh yeah. Well, it's I wasn't the first, but my brother David was the same way. What made it even worse is is that I got a Social Security check every month, and then she kept that check every single month. She kept that check every single month. She kept that check.
Wow. So she kept your money while you were homeless.
Yeah. She got my money while I was homeless. Yes, while I was homeless.
How Christian.
Yeah, Christian. Oh, yeah. Again, another reason why I'm anti-Christian. One reason why I'm anti-religion.
So can you tell us a little bit about? You said you had bad experiences with pastors or the church.
Sure, yeah, I would just get so hungry. Believe me, you're 13 and 14 years old. You get so damn hungry, you'll do anything for food. You'll go to a church and just beg for food or beg for it snowing outside. You don't even have a jacket, so it's bad situation.
And where? Sorry for a second. Where were you living, so we can know?
Texas,
Oh.
Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
Texas. But it wasn't always snow, but more ice here than we have snow. But still, it'd be cold as hell, and you'd be outside with not even as much as a jacket. And you go to these churches, and you'd get this pastor that would offer your help, but rent a hotel room for a week or two, however long he could get the church to pay for it. And then he'd come by and abuse me every day. And I'm sure I don't have to tell you what I mean by abuse me every day.
Well, actually, I would like you to tell us what you mean by.
He would have sex with me. It's what he would do. He would have sex with me.
And this was one pastor or several different ones?
Oh, several. I've had it happen more times than I can count. In fact, when it comes to churches, more churches has done me harm than good. That's sad to say. They'd either turn me down or would molest me, basically. That's 80 or 90% of them. Very few times would they actually help me and feed me or something, until I just finally gave up even trying to ask them for help because I realized that, they weren't going to help me. They were going to use me,
Yeah, that's pretty Christian of them.
Oh, yeah. Real Christian, And so that's and truthfully, so I was anti-religion from about the age 15 on, I'd say about that age is when I really started seeing religion for the bad that it was, the horrible things that it did to people, from breaking up families to, throwing kids out that were homosexual, or, a couple that I grew up with was Joe and Joanna. They were twins, and their mother was a hardcore Christian. Well, their stepdaddy was raping them too. And so they were about my age and went and told their mother that daddy was raping them, where she just beat the living piss out of them and did the same thing to them. Don't you ever say that about your daddy, and threw them out on the streets. So that's, again, another good hardcore Christian, So when we, would rent hotel rooms, let me tell you, people would take advantage of you like you just wouldn't believe people would take advantage of you. Hotel rooms for anybody else back then would be, $50 a month or a week. It'd be $150. And you was thankful that they were screwing you over because legally they weren't even supposed to rent to you, So they would take advantage of you. And what was you to do? And I would sell newspapers or candy, anything I could, because I couldn't get a real job, And what else would I do? I'd break in houses, I'd con people, whatever I had to do to make it. I'd get VCR boxes out of the trash can, fill it full of rocks, and convince people that I had a stolen VCR for sale. And they thought they was ripping off a little kid that didn't know what he had and had no idea the little kid was ripping them off, So that's what I did, and until I got old enough. And then when I was about 16, I got in some trouble for me and an older guy broke into a place and stole a truckload of credit cards. And that's back in the day when they all printed up, it was selling the credit cards. And they had me for many felonies. And made me go through the first offenders class. And
Wow.
They scared the living piss out of me. They put a fear of prison to me that I still have to this day. They sure did. But it also helped me because I was emancipated at 16, which means I could get full-time employment and things of that nature. So that actually helped me in the long run. And ever since then, last time I ever got in any trouble with the law, since then, I've been, spotless record since then. Since I've been an adult, I've been jailed once, and that was for a traffic ticket. But that's it. That's the only time I've ever been in jail or anything.
All right. So once you decided that you were an atheist, how has that affected you now? Has it been any different?
It's made me a better person, I think. It's made me a lot more open. It's made me a far better person, far less judgmental, of people. I'm far more accepting of others, other cultures, than I ever was a Christian. The Christian and the us and them mentality. It's made me a far better person than what I was before I was an atheist.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, when I was a Christian, I thought that I had the actually right or duty to hate people. Hate people, like you said, of other religions, people that didn't believe in God, people that were homosexual, people, that were having sex outside of marriage, or all kinds of things. People that were sinners.
Try being a homosexual and being in the church and being taught that you should hate these people. That's even worse to have to, just to not even admit what you are. It took me years and years and years for I didn't even admit I was a homosexual. Because not just, the church, but society in general would look down on your nose at you. All homosexuals are child molesters and on and on and on. That's silly idiotic
that's
stuff,
stupid, yeah.
And you believe that. You believe I can't be, even though, why would God make me this way? And you would ask that, you would ask, why would God make me this way? And when I was even in the church, I would read the Bible and read the part where it talked about a bastard. I'd go and ask pastors about this because that scared the piss out of me. That when I'm a bastard, it says I'm not welcomed. And they can never give me a logical reasoning about basically you're just misinterpreting it or, you're not understanding the Bible. And it's like, what is there not to understand about that line? What is there not to understand about if you are a bastard, you're not welcome in the congregation of the Lord to your 10th generation? What is to misinterpret it about that? And it scared me. It scared the piss out of me, and until I just read more and more and more. And the more I read, the less I could believe. And I said, well, again, I can't see how any loving God would make me this way and then punish me. What kind of loving God would do that?
Yeah.
And the more I thought, no loving God would do that. No loving God would do it.
Yeah, I agree. I know they don't see it. I know when I was a Christian, I thought that God was love, but now that I, have critical thinking and actually taking, a class on morality in college, I just don't see how that you could even see God as loving. I mean, it's or moral or ethical. It's just ridiculous. In fact, in my class, the first thing we learned was that the God morality isn't even considered ethics. Because it's called divine command theory, which is not a moral theory. It just says whatever God says is moral.
Well, that would be the Christian, all faiths, not just Christian faiths, but all faiths that I've seen it's agreed. It's not only wanting eternal life, but wanting the perfect eternal life. I mean, I myself think I wouldn't want my life to always go right. It would get a little boring after a while. Everything, it was just perfect all the time, And I certainly wouldn't want to live for it ever, I mean, I just wouldn't want to live for millions and millions and millions and then millions more after that. I just wouldn't want to live that long,
Yeah, I'm not sold on how they see heaven anyways, because supposedly heaven is where you get to praise God forever.
Yeah, and again... Well, wait a minute. Is there sin in heaven? Well, no. Well, then you don't have free will in heaven.
Right.
I mean, you can't have it both ways. If you cannot sin, then you can't have free will. Well, anyways, I never could understand how you can have free will but be tortured if you don't believe this one way. That makes no sense to me either.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, how can you? That never made any sense to me. Never. How's that free will? What's free about that?
So when did you come out as homosexual?
Years in my 20s. I couldn't tell you the exact date, but when I was in my 20s, I came out, as homosexual. That was a lot easier than coming out as an atheist, believe it or not.
Really?
Even back then, homosexuals was more accepted than being an atheist.
Wow.
Even then, that's hard to believe, but yeah, it still is. I mean, still people will accept a homosexual without accepting atheists. You know, say, most of them think atheists are evil, and
Right,
likes to eat babies. That's a little joke, but just we're all evil, we're all devil worshippers, which makes no sense to me. If we don't believe in a God, why are we going to believe in something God made? But that's their mentality.
Yeah, I tell people I don't believe in a God or an anti-God. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all magical beings. Why would we believe in that?
Yeah, why on earth would I believe? And if I don't believe in a God, why would I believe in a devil? How does that make any sense? It ain't making any sense to me. It's none whatsoever. If there is no God, so that's just common sense. But when it comes to that, I think a lot of Christians just never really sat down and talked to an atheist. Is what it is. Very few of us actually talk to an atheist. In fact, on my YouTube channel, my Sam Spicer TV, I have that in my description area. That's the purpose of my channel, is to show people that not all atheists are evil people.
Right.
That believe it or not, we're nice and moral people. So I do have that in there. And I'm a proud atheist. I'm an outspoken atheist.
So has anybody contacted you through your channel and talked to you about it? There was a believer.
Oh yeah, I've had several. I had one a while back that sent me a email saying that if I didn't stop what I was watching and liking now, that him and 15 others is going to unsubscribe to my channel. And then he blocked me from responding. So I responded in the only way I knew how, by uploading the Atheist Experience. And I uploaded like 60 of those and put a bunch more atheist-related videos on there. And it cost me about 120 subscribers at first, but then I got like 1,000 off of it. So it's helped me far more than it has hurt me. But I get Christian believers on there all the time that, comments on the videos. And most of the time I don't even have to respond. There's other atheists on there that does it for me, that lets them know that what they're wrong and why they're wrong.
Right.
So that's about the only ones. He was about the only one. And in fact, that guy got so bad, believe it or not, he would just PM me, just message at me 60, 70, 80 a day. I would block one channel, and he would start another. It got so bad, I had to get YouTube involved to get the man to leave me alone. He just would not leave me alone. It's like, dude, it was just crazy, just scripture, these 15, 20, 30 long passages. Like, who the hell's going to sit there and read all this stuff? And I'm not kidding when I say 50 or 60 of them a day he was doing this. And then he started going after my female commenters on the Atheist Experience channels and that, and was being very belligerent and very, very rude. And I finally got YouTube involved, and YouTube has suspended his account, and he hadn't bothered me since. But he just would not leave me be. He was just a nut. I mean, a complete nut. And like I said, when you start writing to the females, that's why I said enough is enough now. There's just no need in talking. I mean, debates are fine, but being belligerent and being rude is not. Be as polite, talk about your God all you want, but be polite about it. And I tell the atheists the same thing, be polite about it, And I even try to be fair on my channel. I even have Christian-related videos on there as well, so I try to be fair. Try to put Muslim-related videos, but I don't know of any. And I've asked several of the Muslim channels about, hey, give me some classic TV shows that are Muslim-based and things like that, and I've never get a response, so that's why I don't have those up there. Because I do try to be open and show both sides and let you decide for yourself.
Right. Yeah, I don't do that. I'm one-sided, so.
Oh well, yeah, but
I'm not saying anything wrong with what you do. I'm just saying, for me, I don't feel I have any need to be even-handed. Just like I say, a scientist. I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying a scientist doesn't have to teach flat Earth theory and then.
Oh yeah, we talked about that the other day. Science doesn't matter. How you can know everything and still believe crazy shit. Like the Flat Earth Society. Now on my Facebook page, I'm not that. I'm not fierce open, but I'm that one on my YouTube channel because I have a mixture of Christian of all faith and atheist as well, and that's why I feel it's only right to have some. There's very little Christian video that's public domain. Most of that stuff is, even if it was made back in the 30s and 40s, it's still copyrighted. They are greedy when it comes to their, all TV shows and that.
They're good Christians.
Yeah, Christian. Yeah. And it's, you find more atheist-related videos than you do Christian that are actually public domain. Or like the Atheist Experience where you can't upload the entire show, but you can upload clips of it,
Right. You started being active as an atheist on Facebook. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it was December the 6th last year, December 6th. Year before last, actually, this is so 13, this is 15, isn't it? So it was year before last, December the 6th, that I came out as an atheist. And that's because I was on there debating a family member about Christmas, and them, thinking that it was a religious holiday and how it was invented by Christians. I didn't even know, your own history. And I just got tired of it, so I just came out as an atheist. At the time, I had 13 friends. The next morning, I woke up and I had like 6 left. They were all gone. And now I have over 700. So, it's been just a win-win for me. I went up and up and up, Now that I've done that, started posting lots of atheist-related videos, posts, comments. It's just been nothing but a win-win for me. So, I lost a few, but I've gained far more out of it. Now I've got, one family member that's left, my sister. The hardcore Christian is the only one that's left on there. And we have debates every now and then. In fact, when that Hobby Lobby story come by, she was just telling me about, it's about time that our courts has passed something that was for the Christians and has taken things away from the Christians. I said, and she wouldn't answer me. I said, name one law that has ever been passed in America that has hurt Christians and helped any other religion. Just one is all I'm asking. Just one. And of course, she couldn't name one because there isn't any.
Right.
And again, how can you call your boss telling you what you can and can't do with your own body, your religious freedom? How is that? That's your boss forcing their religious freedom on you.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Oh, I agree. I don't know if you've seen it, but the things I've gone out and protested.
Oh yeah.
Hobby Lobby.
Oh yeah. I haven't done that, but I have, made my voice with Hobby Lobby and about how if they were really as Christians what they were, they have no problem buying from a country that kills, that has thousands and thousands of abortions a year. They have no problem buying from them.
Yeah.
And if they're true Christians, they wouldn't be that way. If a true Christian, if it was really about abortions and not about black men being in office, they wouldn't buy from countries like China. They wouldn't. If the abortion really bothered them that bad, they wouldn't buy from a country like China.
I agree.
Who's
also atheist.
But yeah, so that's what with Hobby Lobby. I just always thought that was wrong, and the reason why is because I don't think any boss should be able to tell a woman what she should do with her own body. It's what I tell them about abortions. I look at abortion the same way I look at gay marriage or interracial marriage. If you don't believe in it, don't have it. If you don't have one, don't get married to the same person of the same sex. But to stop others from doing that in a free country is stepping on other people's rights.
Oh, I agree.
It doesn't affect you in any way. The only way gay marriage should affect a straight person marriage if one of them is gay. That's the only way it can affect their marriage. It's the only way.
True. But the problem is a lot of them are probably bisexual or gay in a so-called straight marriage.
Oh yeah. You see that TLC, I think, is coming out with something. I don't know if you've seen that or not.
Oh yeah, they're
He's not gay. He just likes to sleep with men, and it's like, oh okay. That makes him bisexual at minimum.
Yeah.
At minimum, that makes him bisexual.
I agree. Well, I think that's the one thing I think is interesting is how people think it's either gay or straight. Like there's no in between. Now that's like a joke.
Oh, there's all different. Difference. I even have to explain that. One was asking me. I forget which one. It was. I cannot believe. It starts with a P. I cannot think of what it is.
Pansexual.
Pansexuals. They want to know what a pansexual was. I said, well, it's basically a bisexual that has a gender that doesn't have a gender preference. Most bisexuals, they're bisexual. They prefer women, but they'll sleep with men. Or pansexual, they'll sleep with men or women. They don't have a gender specific. And that's basically what it is.
Right, yeah, right. And speaking of that, I know a lot about that too. A pansexual also means that a person that's non-gender conforming, whether either through genetics or through choice, like if somebody is a transsexual is generally somebody who does it by choice, but someone could be a transgender where they feel it from birth that they were in the wrong body. A pansexual would like that anyways. That wouldn't matter. Or if someone was intersexed or hermaphrodite and was between genders, that also wouldn't matter, like you said, because they're not gender specific.
Yeah, exactly. That's just basically, so I forgot how I had explained that to you. It's one Christian lady, I believe it was. She comes on my page, on my Facebook page, every now and then in comments. She doesn't do it often because usually the atheists on there would just tear her up whenever she comes on there and says something about her God. And they'll usually, but she's, I have to tell them now, don't get rude with her now, like with the theory, it's just a theory. And it's, and it's like, and they would getting on her real hard about that, but being a little rude to her. And I said, no, now she just doesn't understand the difference between a scientific theory and the layman's theory.
Yeah.
And that's what I, put in a nice pot way. And gravity is a theory. The germ theory. They're all theories. Do you not know what a scientific theory is? Evolution is a fact. Of course, she's one of these Christians. No, evolution's not a fact. It hasn't been proven. It's like, if you don't believe evolution has been proven, I don't know how to help you. I mean, come on. It's a fact. Evolution is a fact. You might not want to admit that, but evolution is a fact.
Yeah.
Of course, prime examples of that is to ask them, do you know why you have to get a different flu shot every year? Because it evolves. That's why, because the flu evolves every year. Evolution,
Yeah,
Anyway, I just posted a story about scientists finding the first frog that gave birth to live tadpoles instead of eggs. I just posted that. And one of the atheists put on their evolution, and I put on their, the flying spaghetti monster made them that way.
Yeah. Well, that's like now they have they found in Africa where these female lions are growing manes.
Oh yeah! Wow, ain't that something? Did you see? I also heard once about those insects where the males are the ones that give birth. I don't know if you heard about those too.
No.
Males, the male insects. We posted about last year on that about males that give birth. The males are the ones that give birth. Wow, it's the first time ever they've seen this. And again, it's evolution.
Oh yeah.
It's evolution. I mean, come on. Look what we've done with dogs and cats over just a few thousand years. If you don't think that what we've done over a few thousand years of different breeds we have, that evolution could do it over several million years, then it's your lack of imagination, not mine. I mean, come on. And that's what they say. But you've never seen a dog give birth to a cat. If you had a dog give birth to a cat, that would disprove evolution. A dog's always going to give birth to a dog. A cat's always going to give birth to a cat. It's never going to be something different. I mean, It's always going to be the same thing, just with slight differences, but over millions of years.
Well, what's so funny is the believers will have such a problem with proven science, but a disproven book of just myths that have never been proven, they have such surety.
Oh yeah. And it's, prove it. Just prove any of it. And that's what I tell them. Even if every story in the Bible was true, that still wouldn't prove a God. That would prove, some supernatural things maybe, but it wouldn't prove it's a God. Even that wouldn't prove it's a God.
Yeah. No, I agree to that, because if like someone said before, well, what if someone could do a miracle? Well, that would prove that miracle. That would.
God.
Yeah.
I mean, even if Jesus did exist, everything Jesus supposedly did, from walking on water to healing the blind and all that was proved is a miracle, but it wouldn't prove he was a God. It just wouldn't.
True.
It just wouldn't prove he's a God. It would have proved that we don't understand something we don't know and don't understand, but it wouldn't prove a God.
Yeah.
The Muslim, the Hindu, and on, any God I've ever seen, they've all been just as silly and just as idiotic. And I'm glad to see the atheist movement take it off like it is. Now, I wouldn't call myself a new atheist because I'm just, an atheist. I don't understand what a new atheist versus an old atheist.
Yeah, I don't call myself a new atheist either, and I would say one of the reasons why I see the thing of the new atheist is that a new atheist is basically because of 9/11. It's basically saying that from that point, from that point, because of 9/11 or the potential harm that religion can do, that an atheist should talk out or speak against religion. So it's basically a form of atheism mixed with kind of like anti-religion, anti-theism. But for me, I consider myself, I mean, like you say, an atheist, but I'm an axiological atheist, which is a little bit, it's a philosophical way of understanding why you should be an atheist. But basically, I would say, but the fact that Robert Ingersoll in the 1800s was being, you know, an outspoken atheist, it wasn't because of Islam. So, you know, I even if Islam was removed from the earth or had never done 9/11, I still would be no different. So that's why I don't really consider myself a new atheist, because nothing that they, if the whole religion of Islam was gone, I still would be just as strong of an atheist.
I'm sure. I mean, the Christian faith is done just.
Oh yes.
I mean, they're just as brutal, you know, and that's when I talk about. We're worried about Shia law in America. We already have Christian Shia law. Pray before government meetings, but only the Christian prayer. Now, how the hell is that not a government picking one religion over other ones?
Or putting our hand on the Bible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, that's something that I wouldn't do. I would just refuse to do it. You know, I will just swear to tell the truth, promise to tell the truth, but I might put my hand on a book I don't believe in and swear to tell the truth. It's the point of the thing.
Yeah.
You know, I just won't do that. I just won't, you know.
But I would still say that even if you remove Christianity and Judaism and Islam, I still would be an atheist, and nothing would.
Exactly. Yes. I had a new one. Tell me what I had a friend that's a hardcore Christian, and he believes that the Christian and the Muslim faith are coming together and going to be one religion, and that's going to be the one world religion, and that we're at the end times. Now, how do you argue with that one? That's nuts. And I said, we won't, 1,000 years from now, we won't be under one religion. 10,000 years from now, if we won't, I'm sorry, but it will never happen. We will never be under one world government. We'll always have somebody. And that's what I'm trying to explain. Even if you did get Muslim and the Christians together, you still have 9,998 other religions out there. You still wouldn't have one world government and one world religion. You still wouldn't have it. You know, you still have millions and millions of others.
Well, that's because we see, but they deny how tribal religion is. I mean, there's not one Christian. Forget the Christians and the Muslims getting together. There's not one form of Christian. There's. They're all.
I asked them that. How do you know? Let's say, for the sake of argument, let's say that God is real. For the sake of the argument, let's say He's the Christian God. I'll go that far. You know. Now, explain to me, how do you know that your Bible, out of 125 different versions of the Bible, how do you know yours is the right one? How do you know out of the 43,000 different Christian religions, denominations, yours is the right one? How do you know? You know, how do you know? And they never can give me a logical reason other than you have to take it on faith. And it's like, I don't have faith in anything.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have faith. There's nothing I have faith in, you know. We have faith the sun's can come up tomorrow, and I'll have reasonable expectations by prior evidence that the sun's can come up tomorrow. I have no faith that God's going to appear tomorrow, today, or 1,000 years from now, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I tell people that, to me, faith is not a process for the acquisition of knowledge that's worth believing in. I mean, faith doesn't give you anything. It's basically, you know, saying that I don't know and I'm just going to accept. I mean, it's not a process that anyone should use to do anything.
No, it's not. It's like you have to have more than faith. I just can't believe it to believe it. I have to have evidence of it being true. I have to have evidence, and that's God, Loch Ness Monster, space aliens, or anything, ghosts, anything else you can think of, you know. I have to have actual proof that it exists, you know. And until then, I'm going to choose not to believe. I mean, you know, I don't believe that Bigfoot exists. I don't believe the space aliens, you know. Now, do I believe there's space. Do I believe there's creatures on other planets, but the chances of there not being life form on other planets somewhere is slim to none. Do I believe we've been visited? No, that's two different things. So come on, my kitty, come on, lay, come on, my kitty.
Yeah.
Over here, lay. Oh, it's you.
Yeah. You have one cat.
Two kitties. I have two cats. She's the baby. Her mama gave birth underneath my porch. And she gave birth to three of them, but the wild dogs killed two of them. And my partner at the time, before he committed suicide, said, "Oh, they're just so cute." I said, "I don't want to see them. I'm not going to look at them," because I knew what I do. And then he busted me sneaking food out there to him and said, "I thought you wasn't going to see them." And I couldn't let the babies go hungry.
Yeah, no, I can't do that either.
And I just kept them and went and got them fixed. They're all female, so I went and got them fixed so there would be no more little babies around here. And I had them too, Mama and Miss Boots here.
And what are their names?
And Mama, she just got stuck with Mama Kitty because that's what we called her whenever we first got her. And Boots is Mama's solid black, and Boots is solid black but has 4 white feet. So that's how she got her name. You have a black cat? What the hell does it make the color? What does that matter,
Yeah.
What does it matter? What color they're black, and what does that matter?
People are superstitious. Yeah, I have 2 cats also.
Oh, good too. Yeah.
Yeah, I named my Demon and Spirit.
Demon and Spirit, yeah. Well, Mama Kid, like I said, her name just stuck, and she's answered to it, so we just never changed it. And little Miss Boots here, that was so funny when I first got them. They were just ate up with fleas, and their claws wasn't even hard yet. So I'm sitting there bathing them, and she just was a growling and a hissing at me, and I couldn't do anything. Oh, they did not like that bath at all. And she said, "Baby, I had to get those fleas off of you." Oh, they were just so mad about those baths. Like, "How dare you get me wet?" Now they play in the rain, though. Now they actually go out in the rain and play. Some weird cats. Never seen cats that like water. They love to play in the rain.
Mm. So you said that you had a partner and he committed suicide. Can you tell us about that?
Oh, it was a very bad day of my life. In fact, I'm still...
Well, can you first tell us about, before you tell us about the bad part, can you first tell us about when you met your partner, how long you were together, or, what?
We was together almost 25 years.
Wow.
I met him, we was together for many, many years. Met him at Hunky's, believe it or not.
What's that?
It's a restaurant.
Okay.
Hamburger joint. And we met there. And we got together shortly after that. And I don't know, he was on a lot of prescription drugs, is what it was. And he was just goes to show you that you can be on prescription drugs and still be a junkie. That's sad to say, but he was. And I blame those damn Xanax is what I blame. And he just, they ate away his mind is all I can say. He just got where he just didn't want to live anymore. On the 25th of October, I went up to the store to get him some medication. And when I came back, I found him in the bathtub. He stuck a gun to his head and pulled the trigger.
Wow.
And the many things I've been through, it's one of the worst days of my life. And I'm still incredibly depressed and have to convince myself daily why not to just do myself in. So
how did that feel when you found him?
Oh, it's just horrible. It's just the worst thing I could ever think of that possibly could think of. And he tried it once before, and I begged him, not to be just uncaring, but if you're going to do something like that, go to a damn public bathroom or something. Don't let a loved one find you. Do you know what that does to a loved one to find you? It was just horrible. And then the damn cops came out and stole $100 off the table.
What?
Stole $100 off the table.
That's ridiculous.
They report them. There's like 20 of them in here. Who am I going to report? Stole $100 off the table. Walked in and caught them searching the damn house. Searching it. I said, you need to get out, sir. You're not searching my house. You need to get out. I said, I will step out, but you are not searching my house. This is not something I'm asking. This is something I'm telling you. You are not searching my house. I just couldn't believe that they would just come in and start searching. Hey, I know my rights. In a suicide like that, you're supposed to be in the bathroom back there where it happens, not my living room. This is not the crime scene. You have no business in my living room.
Yeah.
Sure enough.
So you were an atheist when this happened?
Yeah, I was an atheist when this happened. Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been an atheist, God, like I said, 16, 17 years now, something like that. So I've been an atheist, an open atheist, and I've been a public atheist for a little over a year now. But my partner, of course, knew many years ago I was an atheist.
What he was he an atheist also, or?
No, he was a Christian. No, he was a Christian. And in fact, it kind of pissed me off, in fact, because when he tried it the first time, a few of his members told him that he's going to die and burn in hell. Doesn't he know the Bible? You commit suicide, you're going to die and burn in hell. And I'm the one, whenever he did commit suicide, after he did it, I got on the phone with his pastor and wasn't so nice and told her, I said, you need to teach your pastor or your congregation that they need to know their own Bible. It doesn't state anything in the Bible about if you commit suicide, you're going to die and burn in hell, But even if it did, what kind of fucking person would tell a suicidal person some shit like that? Or what kind of person would do that? Even if what's in there, you don't tell a suicidal Christian something like that. What the hell's wrong with you people? And believe it or not, he actually had a sermon telling everyone that they were wrong about what was and wasn't in their Bible, and called me up and thanked me for setting her straight on what was and wasn't in the Bible.
No, that's good. Atheists doing outreach.
Yeah. And then this Christmas, I just couldn't be alone, so I went over to some families and some friends, and they were all thumpers. Of course, I was the only atheist there, and they got up to pray, and of course, I didn't get up to pray. I mean, come on. And some atheists asked about that. Some atheists thought I was wrong. Most didn't. And the way I look at it is, no, I wasn't wrong. If they was over at my house and I asked them not to pray, how would they be? Would that offend them? If they invited someone that was a Muslim or a Hindu and they wanted them to pray to Allah or something, how would they feel about that? No, the way I look at it is, if you don't if you want everyone to pray to the same God, then don't invite an atheist. Don't invite someone of a different faith. That's the way I look at it. I'm an atheist, and I'm not going to get up and pray to a God I don't believe in. I'm not going to do that.
I agree.
Praying is talking to yourself,
I agree. I have very devout, parents, and they know I don't think it's anything but bullshit, and they'll actually pray real quietly to themselves, trying not to offend me.
You're supposed to do that anyways. You're supposed to pray to yourself anyways, first of all. But yeah, and that's what I thought. I mean, that never makes no sense to me. Give thanks to God for you preparing the food, you buying the food, you cooking the food. Well, what the hell did God do?
Yeah.
Well, same way with me. See, like with my street, I'm proud of the fact that I grew up and never been to prison on the streets. I raised myself, and to give God 1% of the credit for what I did is an insult to me. Why the hell does he deserve any credit? He didn't do anything. I did it all. God did nothing. Even if he was real, God did nothing. It's an insult to me to sit there and say God did anything. God didn't do jack shit. Didn't do nothing.
True. Yeah. Well, he watched you get molested by priests.
Oh yeah. See, that's it. See, that's what I tell them. That's the difference between me and their God. If I seen a child get molested, I would stop them. I wouldn't say, you go ahead and do that and I'll punish you later. That's the difference between you and your God.
That's right.
And I even asked them that, if you seen a child getting raped, would you stop that rape? Well, yes, I sure would. See your kitty back there. And I said, well, can you not see that makes you more moral than your God? You're more moral than your God. Why can't you see that? You have more morals than your God.
Yeah. Yeah, it is ridiculous, and I know that it's just denialism. They don't even they just accept it on faith without thinking. They don't even they think it's morality or ethics. It's not. That you're not thinking at all. You just it's like those things you get, those contracts. People don't read the whole contract. You just go down where it says accept, and then you go on, and that's all they do. They just whatever the bullshit that it says doesn't matter. They just accept and go on because they know you have to accept a part of it.
Oh yeah, and so that's it. You got to accept the entire Bible. And you can't just pick and choose parts you want to obey, and all the good parts you want to obey, but all the bad parts are either a mistranslation or
misinterpretation, and it's like, I'm sorry, but some of these are clear. It's clear. It tells you to stone to death any non-believers, any believers don't believe the same as you. How can you misinterpret that? How can you misunderstand that? What is the misunderstand there?
Well, I know. Well, what's funny is they'll say, "Well, you're interpreting it wrong," but it's funny how they interpret the things they want to interpret, and then they take serious the ones they want, the things they like. It's just so funny how whatever, like you said about the different denominations, whatever the religion is or the branch of Christian, it's funny how it always, the Bible always coincides with whatever you want.
Oh yeah, it's amazing how God always thinks the way you do. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's amazing how God always seems to think and have the same laws you do. It just makes it's amazing,
And then the Bible somehow, you're seeing it right, and all the other Christian denominations, they're not reading that same one book correctly.
Yeah, that's what I say. What kind of loving God would do that? What kind of loving God would let 3/4 or more of his creation die and burn in hell because they don't believe in the right God? I mean, what kind of loving God would do that? Would they choose? No, they don't choose. A Muslim didn't choose to be Muslim. When did you choose to believe in the Christian God? When did you choose to start believing in the Christian God? Can you tell me? Well, I've always believed in him. Exactly. You believed in him since you were a little baby. You didn't choose to start believing.
Yeah, that's the case of most people that are believers, that they never had a chance to choose.
No, of course not. And that was with me. I was indoctrinated in that. I was a Christian the biggest part of my life. Until the more I read, the more I started studying and reading, and it's like, this just can't be true. Then you find out things like we don't know who wrote the Bible, and just things like that. It's like, again, so you don't even know who wrote the Bible. If you're going to believe, what someone said, it was one of them said that you're going to take the word of people that didn't even know where the sun went at night, and you're going to believe them? You're going to believe this stuff is true? I mean, come on. They don't even know, they thought the sun disappeared at night.
Yeah.
They didn't know. I mean, come on, you're going to believe somebody that thought that, the earth is the center of the universe? I mean, come on, this is, your Bible here. This is what you're going to believe? We know better than that now, and why? Because it's science. That's why, science. That's why I say, in fact, name anything in your life that science has something to do with. Hell, even your clothing has science has something to do with. Everything. There's nothing you use, nothing you do that science is not responsible for.
Well, and I would say that there's nothing that the Bible does better than science. Nothing. There's
Name one thing, and I'm not one for saying that religion is all bad. I am one for saying that any good religion could be done without religion. And I've asked, saying one thing, just one thing that Christianity or any religion can do that cannot be done without religion. Any good things, of course, lots of bad things. But, just one positive thing that religion is responsible for that cannot be done without religion. Just one is all I ask. Just get an answer to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard someone one time try to tell me that, well, without religion you wouldn't have had Martin Luther King. And I said, well, you must not know much about the civil rights movement. Because actually Martin Luther King was at the top. One of the reasons was because he was religious. He has people very high up that were atheists with him that never could be seen, or because they were atheists. He was a very big homosexual, anti-homosexual. He had people in his movement that were homosexual. He did not allow them, or the group did not allow them to be open because it was against the religion. So really, if Martin Luther King would have been anti-religion, it would have been better, because then he would have probably been for gay rights and he would have been for atheist rights.
Oh, sure, yeah. See, that's just being. I believe in all rights. We should all have rights. Now, someone asked, if I can abolish religion tomorrow, would I do it? No, you can't force beliefs on others, but I would hope that people would change on their own, that more and more people would realize that religion is bullshit. And it doesn't matter what religion it is, it's all bullshit. And that's the way we need to get rid of religion. We need to ridicule them when they say something stupid. Like, if without my God, where do you get your morals? Well, I don't need an imaginary sky daddy to tell me what's right and wrong. I just don't. If you cannot understand that I don't want my shit taken, so I don't take other people's shit, I don't know what else to tell you. It really is that simple. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it to you any simpler than that. I mean, I really don't know. If you can't understand that, I don't know any simpler way of putting it than that. I mean, that's why.
Well, but it goes back to what you're saying is that what they think, the problem is what they think morals is. Because they think morals is, like you said, that I agree, there should be gay marriage. Well, of course there should. If people want to get married, they should be allowed to marry. Someone else who's religious and doesn't think that way, then don't get a gay marriage. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, but they think that because of their morality, they have the right to say that it's wrong. Because remember, they have the right in the Bible, to stone people to death. So they have the right to punish you for what you do to yourself.
Yeah, that's just crazy. And that's what would be. I believe all drugs should be legal. We should legalize them all. We've had the war on drugs how many years now? We've spent billions and billions of dollars on them, and have we even as much as slowed down the illegal drug use? No. All we've done is put millions of people in jail, especially for like marijuana. I mean, come on. And we put millions and millions of people, destroyed millions of lives with this shit. What we're doing now is a miserable, miserable failure. So we should do something. We should do the same thing we learned from alcohol. You cannot stop people from using them. You're not going to stop people from using them. So regulate it. You'll stand a far better chance, and especially when it comes to children. It's a hell of a lot easier for kids to get a hold of drugs than it is alcohol, because most people, they're not going to take the chance on selling it to children because they make enough money selling it to adults. Now I wouldn't use them, but I do think what we're doing now is a miserable failure. It's a miserable, miserable failure. We spend billions and billions of dollars. We're now the country with the most imprisoned people than any other country on the face of the earth. So whatever we're doing is miserable. It's not working. We're just locking up more and more of our youth. That's all we're doing.
Yeah. So what do you do anything to be an activist for gay rights or for atheist rights?
I post on Facebook a lot. I'm very outspoken on that, and with my YouTube channel, I'm pretty well outspoken on that. But other than that, no, not a whole lot. I'm not really into the marching and things like that. But yeah, on Facebook, I'm always pushing gay rights. Atheist rights, and things of that nature. So yeah, I'm very open that way. Very outspoken on Facebook and with what I post and things of that nature.
So, is there anything that you feel like that people should know about gay rights or about atheist rights that seems to be that they don't know?
That atheists are not bad people. That would be nice. That we're not evil, and that we're certainly not devil worshippers. Silly things like that. That's just some of the idiotic things I've heard. That you can be an atheist and still be a decent person. I know that's hard to believe. And that you can be a homosexual and not be a child molester. I know that's hard to believe, but believe it or not, not all not all homosexuals are child molesters. In fact, if you actually do your study, you'll find out most child molesters are straight, not gay.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, I'm not saying there is no gay child molesters. Because of course, like atheists, of course there's bad atheists, but we're not all that way. So that's one thing I wish the Christians especially would understand, that just because you're atheist or homosexual doesn't mean you're a bad person. So I hear that so much. I hear that. It's like,
yeah. I know what's funny is some people say that the atheist is the worst thing, worse than a child molester, which I find is really insane. Just like if an atheist is so bad, and I agree there are some bad atheists, but all the bad atheists I've ever heard of, I don't hear them going and bombing buildings. I don't. Exactly.
Blowing up clinics, blowing up churches.
Yeah, it's killing believers. I mean, it's not happening. I mean.
Of course. And of course, I had one that tried to say, well, yes, it did. What about during World War II with the communists? And it's like what the communists did, they did in the name of communism, not atheism. Do you not understand? Those are two different things. And I would call communism a true atheist anyways, because they just worship their government. That's the only
true, because right. No, I agree with that because they killed anarchists, and anarchists are usually atheists also. So they weren't saying, "Oh well, because you're an atheist, we're not going to kill you." They killed them also.
but as I said, no, what they did wasn't done in the name of atheism.
No.
Come on. Do you blame all Christians? I mean, if you want to go by that mentality, well, what about the Nazis? They were Christians. I mean, and the Catholic Church was in bed with them. Does that make all Catholic Nazis? Does that make all Catholics responsible for what Hitler did? No, of course not.
Yeah.
Of course not.
Well, and even like with Stalin and all that, at first he had no problem really with religion either. He became more anti-religious later, but that was because of the White War that happened, where the religious Catholics and stuff tried to actually kill him and take over the communists. So before that, he was actually didn't actively try to go against religion. He was an atheist, but after that, them trying to fight him, and that's when he became, real anti, religion and oppressive to religion. But before that, he didn't. So it's not even that communism in general is anti, faith. It's just it's an ideology, and they see religion as another ideology against them.
Yeah, exactly. So that, and of course, they try to tell me how I was wrong, and I need to study my, history. You're the one that needs to study history.
Yeah.
It wasn't done in the name of atheism.
No.
It's two different things. I mean, come on, about that mentality. And there's also Christian communists. I know that's crazy, but they do exist again. So does that make all Christians responsible? The answer to that is no.
Yeah. There's also Christians that say that they're anarchists, which I think is funny too.
Yeah, so that's crazy. So, but hey, you got some weird beliefs. You got some weird denominations out there too. Some strange denominations out there. Like the Flat Earth Society. Those are prime examples of weird ones. Believe the Earth is flat? I don't know. But somehow they do.
Yeah, well, have you seen that I posted recently about the people that believe that the moon is fake?
Oh yeah, I've heard about that one too. Yeah, that is just I mean, that's just crazy.
Yes.
No.
It's like
You can have all the evidence there is and still believe a certain way. The Bible says it's just a light in the sky, so therefore that's what it is.
Exactly.
This is the mentality of the people that you're listening to. This is in the Bible, and you believe this shit. I mean, come on. They believe the sun just magically disappeared at night.
Yeah.
And it reappeared the next morning.
Right, the light in the day, the light in the night. I know exactly.
Yeah, and that's just crazy. Now we know that the sun is, or that the moon is not a light. It's the sun reflects off the moon. That's what you're seeing.
Right, the Bible disproves itself right there. It's just unscientific.
I mean, come on, with the fact that it invented light before it invented the sun. I mean, come on, invented plants before it invented the sun. I mean, that's enough alone to make you question it. I mean, just name one plant that's in total darkness that grows. It's just isn't any. All of them have some light. Maybe,
right.
There are plants out there that take very little light, but even they take some light.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, so that's what I've always ask them, and of course that's asking how, and of course how do you know? How do you know your Bible is the right one? If you say that, the problem with that is that you have 10,000 other faiths that says the exact same thing. You have 10,000 other religions that says you just have to take it on faith. Well, how in the hell do I know which one's the right one? The way I look at it, if your God is real, you stand just as big of a chance of burning in hell as I do, because your chances of being the right religion are slim to none. I mean, come on, it's slim to none, And so tell them they're atheists just like I am. The only difference is they're 99.99% atheists, while I'm 100%. That's the only difference.
Right.
You're an atheist too. You're an atheist for all the other gods out there, but the one you cling to. But you're, for any other god, you don't believe in that god. That would make you an atheist. In fact, your God is an atheist. Even your God's an atheist.
Well, I don't know. If you read the Ten Commandments, it says, "Thou shalt have no other god before me."
I see that. Yeah, but God doesn't believe that. They believe
No, I know.
God,
I'm just saying.
Doesn't believe He had a creator. So that's what I mean by that. He might believe in other gods, but they could be his brothers or sisters or something. But he didn't have a creator. You know, so that's what I mean by even their God is an atheist.
Yeah.
Even God's an atheist. Even he doesn't believe in. So that could be, if there was a God, then you'd have to explain where your God come from. Then you have to explain where that can come from, and on and on and on. You know, and if you can say, well, God's always been here. How the hell do you know that? How do you know your God's always been here? And if he's always been here, why can't you say just the universe has always been here? Why does there, you know, why does there have to be a God? You know, the universe is fine-tuned for life. If you really study the universe, it's far from fine-tuned for life.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how little of the universe allows life.
Oh yeah, exactly. For all we know, there's only one planet definitely for sure that we know have life on it, and that's ours. You know.
That's right.
You know, that's the only one. Now,
But
there's life on other planets, sure. The chances of there not being, I mean, there's been a study and said I forget how many, but if you got 1% of 1%, that's still the billions of planets with life on it. There's so damn many planets out there. So the chances of being the only life form are slim to none.
Right. But what I say about that is that there is a possibility. I personally don't think it's 100% because one of the reasons is we could be the first life.
Oh sure, yeah.
And they're a billion years from now, there could be more life. I'm not saying there never could be. We could also be the last life. Everything could have already happened a billion years ago, all died off, and we're the last left. I mean, so we don't know. I always say we don't know. It's not impossible, but we don't know. So I mean, to think that. But I'm just saying, just like that, for a God, they say, well, this has to be. Well, how about this? What if there was a God? Even if there was, what if he already died? What if he died billions of years ago? I mean, everything.
So many things it can.
You know.
There's so many possibilities other than a God is the answer. For all you know, we could be a damn computer for all you know. We could just be a computer simulated game for all you know. We could be some brain in a vat somewhere. It's just dreaming all the time, because that's kind of hard for me to believe.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe I would come up with every perfect song, every terrible song, every great movie, all in my head. I just couldn't imagine how I would come up with all that.
I usually say that I couldn't imagine someone doing that and inventing. I always say I can't imagine someone doing that and inventing child suffering.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Child starvation, child rape. You know, I mean.
Numerous of things. I mean,
child cancer.
And I don't understand that. Let's say that there is a God, and when you're older, you get these diseases to teach you a lesson, to punish you, to make you more humble, or whatever bullshit that die every day, that never grow up to really know. I mean, we see punishing his parents, and you got to say, how the hell is that? I mean, what kind of loving God would use a child to punish their parents? I mean, you know, what kind of God would do that?
The Bible God.
An imaginary God.
Yeah, the immoral Bronze Age God.
yeah, you know, so that, I always ask for that. I've never been allowed to answer that. Never. You know, there's always that thing about faith. You just have to take it on faith.
Right, yeah. We don't know. It'll make sense one day. No, it doesn't make any sense. Because it's senseless. Yeah.
Crazy nonsense, you know. I'm sorry, but I just can't believe. I can't believe your God no more than I can believe the Hindu God, the Muslim God, the Thor, or anything else. I can't believe any of this stuff. Why? Because anytime we've ever put religion against science, science always wins. Always. You know, there's never been a time that religion is won over on science. Never. Anytime the ever two goes together, science always wins. Always. Doesn't matter what it is. For finding out where the sun goes at night.
Well, right. And even what you're saying right there, science doesn't really do anything. All it does is observes reality the way it really is. And when you observe reality the way it really is, that disproves religion.
Oh, sure it is. And, you know, each year we learn more and more and more. And the more we learn, the less and less and less the religion. You know, the more you find out, the less, you know, the bullshit in the Bible you can believe. I mean, one time we believed there was some man riding the sky that, you know, would make thunder. And we know better than that. We know there's no crazy things like that now. You know, it was an explanation. But, you know, At the time, the thought was, can we learn now what causes thunder? You know, what causes lightning? And it's not a God. You know,
Yeah.
nature.
Yeah, it's definitely not. To me, the concept of God is just an immoral, thing to begin with. You know, people have rights, people have freedoms. The concept of a God means that people don't have rights and don't have freedom. And because they say that you have your free will, but really you have the will to choose to be a slave. That's not free will.
No, that's not free will. How can it be? How can it be free will? That's not, again, that's why I get back down to free will. Free will is no consequences for your actions. You can believe in me if you choose not. That's your life. It's not, if you believe me or you're going to be punished forever and ever and ever and ever. You know, how the hell is that free will? What's free about that? What is free about that choice?
Nothing. Well, plus I understand too, like, let's say that a God is loving. So we believe that there's a God and it's loving. Why would it care if you were gay? If you are happy and you're doing things that make you feel good and you love someone, that's the same sex, how would that hurt a God? And if a God loved you, how would he see that as wrong? I mean, what if he cares about you and you're not hurting yourself, how you're doing stuff that makes you feel good, how is that wrong? That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Yeah, so that's me, and I say that, how's that, and what kind of God would make you that way, then punish you for what he made you. I mean, that, again, makes no sense at all. You know, if they believe that God has a plan, well, if you believe God has a plan, then why do you pray? Why do you pray then?
True.
If you believe he already has a plan and your life's already made out, what's the use of praying?
And right. Exactly. Just like you said before about the government, I always say, if prayer really works and you really believe in it, don't make laws. Just pray. Pray for our country to change. Don't change one law. They seem to have no trust and no faith in prayer at all because they'll try to make laws to force things. Like.
Oh, sure, yeah. Same way with their supposed Christmas and, trying to put a war on. Well, you think if God was really worried about his day, that he would put a stop to it. Wouldn't you just pray to your God? Ask your God to
That's right.
war on Christmas,
That's right.
Ask God, just ask God. Say, God, please end the war on Christmas. Not that there is one. They just don't like the fact that, there's other faiths out there. By saying happy holidays,
right.
They just go, Merry Christmas. Come on, it's silly, there are other faiths out there besides your own. You should respect them all, not just the one you cling to, but all.
Yeah.
And in fact, I mean, that's like with the putting up Christmas trees and things like that. That's even against your own luck if you do it. Of course, a lot of them say, well, I use plastic trees now. It says not to use real trees. Well, okay, I'll give you that. There's still millions of people who use real ones, but,
It's still tree. It's still pagan tree worship.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's what they'll say. Well, I use a plastic tree. I don't use a real one. Like,
and if it does have any Israeli or Jewish or a Hebrew connotation, it would really go back to Ashtar trees or Ashtar poles, and Ashtar was the female goddess or the wife of God.
Yeah.
So they're putting a goddess in their house to celebrate the God's birth.
Yeah. We just talked about what's ones that believe they're going to go to another planet whenever they die.
You're talking about Mormons?
Mormons, yeah, we talked about those, about how they think they're going to be gods and goddess. Not all of them now, just the ones that, make it into that Mormon temple. Not just the Mormon churches, but the actual Mormon temples. They're the gods. It's like, that's crazy. They all got some crazy beliefs, but that's out there. That is out there. They could become God and goddesses over your own world. That's more crazy than Christianity. And that's saying something.
Yeah, it's all crazy, and the more it develops, it usually doesn't get more sane; it gets more crazy.
I'm sure it does. I mean, that's the same way as with the Christian. I thought there's supposed to be one God and one religion. Well, if that was the case, you wouldn't have 40,000 different Christian denominations alone. and more every year. You wouldn't have 100 different Bibles, you know?
Yeah.
Of course, someone will say, oh, well, I use the King James Version. Well, you know, there's 14 different King James Versions. 14 different ones. So
Yeah.
which one of those 14 do you use? And how do you know? How do you know that's the right one? How do you know? And of course,
Well, it's so funny too. If the word is so important, and Jesus came down, why didn't he write one word?
Oh yeah, well, yeah, and not use a dying language, you know, to write these on. That's
True.
even worse. You know, you get amazed. I've had Christians tell me the Bible was written in English.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Believe
Oh.
and believe it. It's like, no, the Bible wasn't written in English. No, believe it or not. You know.
That's funny. Well, what's really funny is that they don't realize the Bible even wasn't even written in one language. Period. Because
languages.
Yeah, several different languages, from Greek to Aramaic to Hebrew and Paleo Hebrew. I mean, it wasn't even one branch of Hebrew or one branch of Greek, or I mean, it was.
Yeah, it's a bunch of crazy stuff. You find out so much, like, you know, about the Bible. If you don't, we have no idea who wrote it, and that alone makes me suspicious. So you're believing a book and you don't even know who wrote it. You don't even know who wrote this thing. You're believing it. You know, I know it's several books put together. What, 60? I want to say put together or something like that.
66, I think, or something like that.
And there's lots of them out, you know. And basically they just picked and choose the parts because, you know, that would go in the Bible. They just got together and said, what are you teaching in this church, or what are you teaching in that church? And basically the most popular ones went into the Bible.
Yeah.
That's how the Bible was written. And again, that makes me suspicious of it. You know, that's just, so we basically put together to stop competing with this other guy that's writing this other book. You know, so we got to put a stop to that, so we're going to write our own Bible. And it took 1,000 years to do. That's just crazy.
Yeah, what's really funny too is that people don't realize that the Bible is presented to you as a story. I mean, because it's not chronologically how it was written, even. Like, people don't realize the first book of the Bible was Exodus, not Genesis.
Yeah, you know, and so, they don't know. They don't know this shit. You know, what said is, you just do it for yourself. You don't take my word for it. So I tell them, don't take my word for it. Don't take your pastor's word for it. Look it up for yourself.
Exactly.
Look it up for yourself. You know, if you can walk away after finding out all the stuff about the Bible and still a believer, then I guess you have more faith than I could. But you're just no way. The more I've seen, the less I can believe.
Right, just like all of Paul's letters were written before even one of the Gospels was written.
Yeah.
Paul died before the first Gospel was written. He never read it. What's funny is he never asks anybody to write a story about Jesus. So,
and even that, look at Jesus and how he was, you know, his miracles, the true miracles were years and years and years after his death, you know, before the first actual miracles that he supposedly did were even come to, to light, supposable, 40, 50 years later before it was even written about. And then come on.
Yeah.
You know, this in a world with 90% illiteracy, at least 90%, come on, that's just a little hard for me to believe. You know, and that's any of his miracles. It's just hard for me to believe. And that's why I say, if Jesus did exist, and he did things like, the fish story, where 2 fishes turned into 2,000 or something like that.
Yeah. 6 loaves of bread and 2 fishes. Yeah.
I don't know if you know that children's story, the stone soup, where this a rabbi went say this. It could be wrong. It goes into town and says he has this magic rock that can make a bunch of soup. So they get a big old cauldron and put water.
Oh yeah.
And he puts the stone down in there, and he says, "You know what? You might go real good with this soup would be some vegetables." So a bunch of the townspeople bring vegetables, and some stew meat would get this. And
right.
And all of a sudden, the whole town eats and have a great, great time. But that's what it is. He was just a good con man. It wasn't that he was.
No, I agree.
Supernatural. That's what I believe. If he ever existed, that is. If he even ever existed. But if he did, that's what I believe. He wasn't no son of God. For sure, and he certainly didn't do anything supernatural. It was just he was a very good con man, is what he was. Now, I'm not saying that he did bad. He may have been a good con man for good reasons, but he was still a con man. He could con people into believing that he was doing the things he was doing.
Yeah.
Very easy fooled back then.
Yeah, so I've had people ask me, do I believe Jesus was real? I just say it's irrelevant. It doesn't. I don't even care. So whether he was an actual human being or not a human being. I mean, some people say that he was a human being, and some people say he's not. I really don't care. It's irrelevant to me, like you say. I mean, it doesn't matter. He wasn't a god, so I mean, who cares what he was, real or not real?
You know, he certainly wasn't God or the Son of God. And I don't even understand that story anyways, but for one, even if he was sacrificed, how is someone else being sacrificed for something I do wrong? How the hell is that moral? How is that moral?
It's
How
not.
is it moral for God, for Jesus to be punished for your sins? How is that moral? That's just crazy. You know, that's nuts. You know.
Well, right. Well, it's nuts that a God would want to have someone suffer.
Yeah,
So that he could forgive you. In other words, God can't forgive you unless someone suffers. What kind of a nonsense God is that?
That's crazy, yeah. Especially since he sacrificed himself to himself for a law he made himself. That makes no sense to me.
Yes, I won't be happy with you unless I suffer for you by dying and suffering for you for me.
Yeah. I even ask them this. Someone will get offended by this one. It says God made man in his own image. Well, that means that God either had to be male or female.
Yeah.
Now, my question is, what does a one-of-a-kind God need with a sex organ? What would he need with one? What would he need with one?
Right.
What a kind God. And one of the atheists says so he can fuck his creations. That's what he needs with it.
But so speaking of that, why would God have made a sex organ on a man if he created Adam? Because when he supposedly created Adam, he didn't create Eve.
Yeah.
So why have a sex organ anyways?
Yeah, exactly. For what's the purpose of it? What would be the reason?
Because it also means supposedly if Adam was created in his current form, that means Adam had sperm.
Yeah. And for
what purpose?
Sex with. I mean, that makes no sense to me.
Right.
Christians will get offended by that. It's like, start asking that. They get offended by that, but it's just, you know, it don't make any sense to me, especially with God, you know, and even with Adam, who's he going to have sex with, you know? And that's what they say, well, you believe we come from nothing. No, I don't know where we come from. You're the one that believes we came from nothing. You're the one that believes God put everything into existence.
Yeah, I heard one person try to tell me, well, maybe he was having sex with animals.
Oh, it could. It wouldn't surprise me. Until their Bible told them not to, you know.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying, is that's what I heard a Christian tried to say. The reason that he had sex organs was because he had sex with animals.
That wouldn't surprise me.
And they said, but he didn't like the animals, that's why God made him a woman. I thought that was...
That makes sense.
But I mean, it just shows how Christians will justify anything.
Oh, yeah, they have to justify. They have to justify their God, even when he's the most immoral being, if he did exist. That's what I tell you. If he popped down in front of me right now, I would believe. I'd have to believe, but I couldn't worship such an evil creature.
Right.
Evil. I would have to believe. If he popped down in front of me, it would show me undeniable proof that it existed. Yeah, I can do that, but unless he had a hell of a lot of explaining, there's no way I can worship him. Because in my eyes, if the Christian God was real, he's evil. You know,
yeah, I agree. You know? Well, that's one part of the people don't get about me being an axiological atheist. An axiological atheist doesn't change if a God is real. What it means is that it's of the philosophy of value put towards atheism is what it is. And so it says that the God is not valuable. It is actually harmful to humans. So whether it's a story, it's harmful, and if it's true, it would be even more harmful. It doesn't somehow. So you would still be an axiological atheist because you see no value in God. So it's
value in God at all. None, zero.
Right, so I'm just saying that's why I feel like that's the position that I hold that's the closest really to it explains who I am.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Because that's what I see no value in God. I see
right.
more harm than good in any God.
You know, I can't see anything that is done in the name of God that can't be done without God. You know, anything positive. You know, there's a lot of negative things, you know, that like these people that won't take their child to a doctor because they just want to pray to God to heal them, and ones like that. You know, things like that wouldn't happen if they didn't believe in that Bible or believe in their book. Again, believe anything you want, but when it comes to children, you shouldn't indoctrinate your children.
No.
And you certainly shouldn't. You know, if you have cancer and you want to pray to God to heal you, that's one thing. But when your child's sick, you should take them to the doctor.
I totally agree. But a lot of times is that they don't have the information. That's why I wrote, and I'm finishing my book, The Tree of Lies and Its Hidden Roots, Exposing the Evolution of Religion and Removing the Rationale of Faith. And I take a long time and really try to give people the information, because I think that, like, I was a believer until I was 36, and then I went to college because I wanted to be a drug and alcohol counselor. And when I went to be for counseling, they told me, well, because you're going to be a drug and alcohol counselor, you need to learn religion, because a lot of AA and stuff is about spirituality or believing in a God. And so I that was the first. I didn't want to take the classes. I didn't understand what that had to do with counseling, but because people have come to you with different faiths. So, but it was funny, once I took a class, and I was a devout Christian, once I took a class on world religions, I was like, wow, these religions are kind of all the same. Like you said, when you read them, they all start sounding like nonsense. But if you could see them as nonsense, wasn't my belief nonsense? And then
and see, that's what most Christians see. Most Christians will do that. Not just Christians, all faiths will do that. All of them are nonsense except they're one.
Exactly.
They're right one.
But they're not different.
They're one of the right God. And it's just nuts. You know, and how do you know this? How do you know? How do you know yours is the right one? And I've never really got a logical answer to that. I've never got them to actually say how they know that theirs is the right religion. You know, actually, I've even given that. I've even given the second argument as to Christian God. I've even asked them that. Now, how do you know yours is the right denomination? How do you know? You know, because they all say you got to believe this sort of ways or you're going to die and burn in hell. All of them says that. All denominations says that. All faith says that. You know, so how do you know? And what is the chances of yours being the right one? What is the chances? You know, and to me, it's slim to none. You have a better chance of winning the lotto than picking the right religion. You know?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say that all religions have a hell, but yeah, I know what you're saying. They all push nonsense. It's all something that's not.
That you believe our certain way. You have to believe our way.
Yeah.
Go to heaven, basically, or or some actually believe in reincarnation and all
Right.
kinds of weird things too.
But they still believe you're in a sense karma. You're punished.
I don't believe in karma. Too many rich people out there that just does nothing but just bad their entire lives. You know, that never really gets what's coming to them. Never really gets what's coming to them. You know. So, you know, I'm not one. I wish karma was true, but I don't even believe karma is true. I wish it was, but it's not. You know?
Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's just more magical thinking.
Now, sure it is. But no, karma is no more real than, your sky daddy is real. You know, you need to get upset when you call him your sky daddy. But that's not what he is. He's supposed to lead your life, and that you have this perfect little life, and, you know. And so also believe most Christians, especially, has never truly had it real hard, where they really had to question their God. You know, they really had to question what kind of God would allow this. You know, now there are some that's had it, but most of them I don't think has really had it. You know, that's rough. You know, and again, what kind of God would teach you? Would tell you not to wear fabrics of two different, or two different clothing of two different fabrics.
Right, or eat shrimp.
Wash your hands. You know. But not tell you to wash your hands before you eat. Now, which one is more useful there? You know,
Really?
You think, you know? And it's also, what kind of God would sit there and not say, well, I told you about slavery? I didn't mean that. You know, you shouldn't own another person.
Right.
I mean, wouldn't you think a loving God would do that? But say, no, well, I was wrong there. You shouldn't own other people. That's just bad.
Well, just like I tell people, if the Ten Commandments are so perfect, why doesn't it say don't rape?
Well, yeah, don't rape. Numerous, yes, you know. I mean, how the first four of them, or 4 or 5 of them, is, you know, God, you know, tooting his own horn, basically, you know. It's,
That's right.
Ask the average Christian, and they can't even tell you the Ten Commandments. They can't even tell them to you. They can't even tell you the Ten Commandments. In fact, I'm asking most of them to give me 5 different scriptures to the Bible. 5, just 5 different ones. And most of them might be able to name 1 or 2, but they can't name any more than that.
Yeah.
You know?
John 3:16, right?
Yeah, you know, that's it. That's about the only one they know, you know. So that's what I asked them. Just give me 5 different verses in the Bible, and they'll give me 1 or 2. And like the Ten Commandments, you know, the easy ones, lie, cheat, steal, they get those. But when it comes to not worshiping another god, not making false idols, which come on, I mean, they have false idols on TV every day.
Yep.
You know, they wear them around their neck.
Yep.
All kinds of things. You know, that's one of your Ten Commandments. You know, thou shalt not commit adultery, basically, and that's in your Ten Commandments. But somehow, that's not immoral. But being a homosexual, yeah.
Oh no, but what's funny is they'll say stoning a homosexual to death is justified, but if they read the verses with it, it also says stoning people that are adulterous is justified.
Oh,
There's no difference.
oh, yes, of course, but you know, that part of the Bible doesn't ignore it. You know. And it even says in there, you know, the truth is ours. And that's if there's infidelity in the marriage. Other than that, if you get divorced and get remarried, in God's eyes, you're committing adultery. You are committing adultery.
Right.
You know, which means that guess what? Any child born out of that second marriage is a bastard. Because guess what? In God's eyes, they couldn't get married in the first place.
Right.
You know, and so not only that, but guess what? If your parents got pregnant before they got married, guess what? According to the Bible, you're a bastard. I hate to tell you that, but
right.
you are.
Right.
Know?
True.
I hate to tell you that.
True.
And of course,
yeah, because life is a conception, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's their belief.
Hey, life is a conception.
It makes no sense to me. You say, with like abortion, they'll go through all this trouble about no one have abortion, but the second that child's born, they're the first ones to say they don't deserve nothing. We shouldn't feed them, house them, clothe them. We shouldn't do nothing for them. It's like life is sacred until you're born. And that going on, somehow you're not sacred anymore.
Yeah.
Somehow life isn't sacred anymore.
Yeah, no, I know. I think that's extremely immoral. That if you care that much about a you know a bunch of, you know, skin cells, but you don't care about an actual person, you know, there's something wrong with you.
Oh, yeah, that's what I say. That's what I say. If you really believe in abortion, then why aren't you for supporting that child that you forced that poor woman to have?
Right, just like I've said before, when people say, well, if you give them welfare, the parents use it, and I say, I have a simple solution for that. Free breakfast, free lunch, and a free snack dinner for all children in public school.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah, that's that. Well, you know.
Oh, no, you can't do that. Why not? Why? I thought you loved children.
Oh, yeah, you know how that is. You know, and what makes no sense to me is ones that are anti-abortion are also usually pro-gun, where they'll believe that by making guns illegal, only criminals are going to have guns. But making abortions illegal is going to stop abortion. Well, that makes no sense to me.
Well, also, they say they're pro-life, but a lot of them are pro-execution and pro-war.
Oh yeah. There's so many of us pro-war, and I can't say war isn't never the answer. Like example, World War II, with Hitler had to be stopped. You know,
right.
Had to be stopped. And so war's not always a bad thing. But I do think it should be our last things that we do. It should be the very last things that we should do. War should be something we only do whenever, you know, it's our last resort. It shouldn't be our first answer. It should be the last answer. You know, we should try everything before we just go and bomb people and kill people, you know?
Right, but I'm saying for people that supposedly care about, you know, the abortion, and yet the first war, let's kill them all, you know?
They're the first ones that think war should be the first answer.
Right.
War should be the first answer. Forget, you know, trying to do settle our differences without violence. Forget that. War should always be the first answer. Always.
Yeah.
Blow them off the face of the earth. You know, and that just makes no sense to me. But these folks will pro-life. They're not no damn pro-life. I mean, come on. You know?
No.
And to me, see, that's what I look at. Is to tell another person what they should do with their body, including having a baby. that's up to that woman and her doctor. It's none of my business.
Right? Right? But that's just like, I think that it shouldn't be called pro-life anymore than it should be called pro-abortion. I mean, I'm for rights. I'm not pro-abortion.
That's what I say. I'm for staying out of other people's business. I know it's hard to believe that it's that simple, but I'm for staying out of other people's business. If that woman chose to have an abortion, it's between her and her doctor. It's none of my business. And that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
If you didn't want to get married, none of my business. A black man wanting to marry a white woman, it's none of my business, you know? It's
right.
None of my business, you know? It's their business, and it should be, you know, and that's what I'm saying.
But I just don't understand how that they allow even the laws to get passed that are against rights like gay marriage. I don't understand. I understand maybe we can't force your church to marry gay people, but to say that the state has to be under some kind of a religious belief system, it's anti-American to me.
Yeah, and sure it is. It supports your views on everyone else. It's saying, I believe this should be right, and so therefore you should have to believe the same way I do.
Yeah.
What it is. Exactly what it is.
Yeah, I find it to be just disgusting. But I've gone before and done atheist outreach at gay pride parades. Like I went to one in Santa Ana, California, and I'm going to do one up here in Seattle. And it's amazing to me how many people who are, LGBT are actually believers.
I don't understand that. That makes no sense to me. I can't understand that. How they can believe that Bible, but again, they can choose. See, that's what they do. They
right.
pick the parts of the Bible they want to believe, and the parts that are bad, they just ignore. Forget about that part of the Bible. You know, I have so many of them talk about, I just follow Jesus. Well, not even Jesus was perfect. You know,
right.
Jesus did tell slaves to obey your master, even the cruel ones.
Right.
Jesus is the one that came up with hell. You know, Jesus is not perfect either.
No.
You know?
Well, he also told the Canaanite woman he wouldn't heal her child because she was a different race. It wasn't Jewish. I mean, that's racism. And then worse.
Jesus wasn't perfect. You know, Jesus
no.
wasn't perfect either. I mean, come on. You know, and what do you think they would? Jesus was to come back now. What do you think they would do? Would they accept him or they crucify him?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, come on. Especially if they come down and look at the Christians about how they're anti-welfare, anti-food stamps, and your Jesus that you so much follow was just the opposite. You know, your Jesus would be for welfare, would be for food stamps.
Oh, definitely. He said, if you take all your riches and sell them and follow me, give them all, give it all to the poor, everything you have. Yeah.
Exactly. You know?
Not 10%, all.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You do that. Hand me ever do that. None. Self not. I don't know any of them give everything they own to the poor.
No, and neither does the Catholic Church or any. They have all kinds of riches.
Come on, look at the Catholic Church. He's sitting up there on a throne made of gold, holding a staff made of gold, and telling you that you should give more to the poor. You know, I mean, come on.
Yeah,
come on here. They're worth millions and millions of dollars. Now, I'm not saying they don't do any good, but I'm saying that they could do a hell of a lot more good than they do. You know. Well,
and a lot of times they do good for the same reason. You know, that a con man, will do so. Yeah. Like you said about the soup, did he feed the whole town with the stone soup? Well, sure, but it was actually trying to feed himself.
Yeah, exactly. He's trying to feed himself, and he calls them into doing it. And not just that, they have to do good. If they didn't do good, people wouldn't give them money. That's why they do good.
Right, exactly.
If people are just too stupid, that's why I say, come on. If your pastor is driving around in a $50,000, $60,000 car, driving on corporate jets, to have $10,000 diamond rings on, $5,000 suits on, while you're barely making it, you need to question your faith. You really need to question it.
Oh, I agree. Or their houses, are like 15, rooms, or 50 rooms, and
massive mansions. And just,
why?
Yeah, you don't see something wrong with this. You don't see something wrong with this, man. getting all these riches while you're basically barely making it. And especially the large ones, so many of them sponge off our senior citizens, ones on Social Security and that. And that's,
Oh yeah, it's disgusting. Yeah, I said why. It's disgusting. It's immoral.
You know, I just have a discussion with that. I have a problem with that. It's like, you know, how on earth can you do that? How can you take advantage of somebody like that? Just how can you? What kind of human being does that? And call themselves, you know, a man of God. If that's being a man of God, I'm glad I'm a heathen. You know, I'm glad I'm not a man of God. Very pleased, no, I'm not a man of God, because that's
Really?
being a man of God. An atheist I'll be, because there's no way I could ever, so my conscience would bother me too much. That would be, I couldn't con people like that, because my conscience would bother me. You know, there's no way I could get up there and tell somebody, you're healed, knowing that I'm not doing anything for them other than making their pocketbook lighter. I just couldn't do it. It would just bother me way too much. You know, I just couldn't do things like that. I just couldn't. I would just drive me nuts. It would drive me to suicide doing something like that, knowing that people believe that shit, and because they believe they're healed, they don't go back to the doctor, because they believe that preacher man healed them. You know? And
Right.
The only thing he healed was their wallet. That's the only thing he healed, was getting money out of their wallet. That's all he ever cared about, you know?
Yeah. So do you feel like there's something that the atheist movement can do to be different or better, or do you like it the way it is?
I think we could be more outspoken. I wish there was more outspoken atheists. I wish more atheists would come out of the closet and admit what they are. You know, I understand at first it's a very hard thing to do, because when you do it, you're going to lose family, you're going to lose friends. It's going to happen, you know, because some families will never be able to accept you for being an atheist. But I do wish more would come out and be more outspoken about their atheism, you know, and be more truthful about what they are, and not just, you know, at the Sunday or whether at mom's house, go through the fake prayer and things like that, but speak out and say, hey, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in these things. So I wish more would do that, you know. Just wish more would come out. You know?
Yeah, I lost basically, or I'm not close to my family, almost all of them, because of coming out as an atheist. For like you said about gay, if I would have said I was gay, that would have been better. I mean, at least then if I still believed in God, I would have been okay.
Oh, yeah.
But my mom.
Yeah, that's what one of the joke.
My mom.
The joke was to tell your mom before you come out as an atheist that, Mom, I'm gay, and when they said, oh, don't worry, I'm just joking, I'm actually just an atheist, you know.
Yeah. No, my mom would act. Yeah, that wouldn't go over well. My mom was quite sad that I didn't even intend it to. Like some people, you know, I have a real strong atheism, but it's just because I believe we have the right to be in public and say things. Not because I don't go out of my way to attack people. Even, you know, like my mom, I wasn't going to go out of my way to tell her, but she said, I want to pray with you. And I said, well, no, I don't really want to do that. And she's like, well, why don't you want to do that? Are you mad at God? And I said, well, actually, I can't be mad at God as a person because I don't believe there is a God. And so then my mom started crying and saying, you know, oh, well, what happened? You know, you were so close to God, such a special relationship. I said, actually, no, that was all delusion. I didn't. And so it's in most of my family, it's been pretty hard. And I think it's something that definitely, you know, most people don't you know, want to have that happen when they, you know, and it just look like you said, being outspoken. Recently in France, you know, that cartoonist magazine, you know, getting murdered. I mean,
oh yeah, over a cartoon. It's just nuts.
So they feel they have the right to. It's not only that they don't want us to be atheists. They feel, or be outspoken, they feel they have the right to hurt us for not believing.
You know, atheists are evil. You know, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. Atheists are evil people. You know, or devil worshippers. That's the silliest one I've heard. But, you know, but yeah, I just want to tell them, no, believe it or not, I'm just, you know, or we have no beliefs. You know, I probably believe in pretty much everything you do. I just don't believe in a God.
Right.
No, that's all. Or that atheism is a worldview. No, The only one thing that all atheists will agree on is that we lack a belief in a God. That's it.
Yep.
You know. Now, I'm one that goes even further than that. I do believe there is no God. Now, can I prove that? No, I can't prove that. You know. But I am one for believing there is no God. Never has been no gods. You know.
Right.
So again, I couldn't prove that if I had to. And could there be a God? Sure. But there also could be space aliens or pixies or Bigfoot as well. But I don't believe those either. So. Does that make me anti-Bigfoot because I don't believe in Bigfoot? Well, no, of course not. That's it's not saying I'm just saying I don't believe in Bigfoot, so I have more than just somebody tell me they see me.
Yeah.
The same way with the God. I don't believe in a God because all the evidence points that there is no such God, or certainly not a loving God for sure.
Oh yeah.
God is a God that has no
moral monster.
No powers to do, or he's dead, something. But there is no God that I know of. And I find it amazing how all these miracles and all these proofs that God exists stopped about the time we started getting video cameras and recording things. It's just amazing how now we've got all this stuff to prove God exists. You never see any miracles.
Yeah.
You never see true miracles. You never see any man walking on water or healing the blind or and things like that. It's
or healing amputees.
Oh yeah, healing amputees. Well, they won't make one leg grow. They'll do that. And it's like, can you believe that? Can't see how they're doing that. Come on. God can help you find your car keys, but they're not going to help a kid in Africa get food. Yeah, right. I believe that. Yeah, I believe it. Like I said, have you ever tried to turn your life to God? I try to turn my life to God more times than I can count. Let me ask you, do you know how it is to be 14, 15 years old and get on your hands and knees and beg God after you went a week or two without food for something to eat and let you just find enough money to go buy a loaf of bread? And just to get so hungry, you go to a store and steal a package of bologna just to get caught. The store manager will tell you, you had no reason for stealing. Stealing is stealing, and call the police on you. Not only do you not get food, but you end up with a ticket on top of it. So believe me, I know all about God. Believe it. And if he is existence, he certainly isn't a caring God. Believe me, I know. I've turned my life to God. I've tried to turn my life to God more times than I can count, but it's always been a miserable failure. Always been a miserable failure in one way or the other. Either I got molested or just, got outright turned down. So when you have that happen to you enough, you do kind of start questioning God. But even then, I still believed in a God. I just didn't believe in organized religion.
Right.
That makes any sense. I just didn't believe in organized religion. I thought Christianity and any other organized religion was just full of scam artists and con artists. Is all there were. From the smallest churches to the largest churches, they're all full of con artists. It's sad to say, but that's what they are. I can't figure out how God needs money. I yet to figure that one out. What does God need money for? If he can invent anything or make anything, what the hell does God do with money? I never could understand that one.
Well, right. Why does he need, like you said, why does he even need to ask for money? If supposedly you can turn 2 fishes into feed 3,000 people, why can't he take $2 and make it into $30,000?
Oh yeah, exactly. Why couldn't he just feed everyone? Why couldn't he just pay for people that didn't need to eat? Could he not done that? He can make the world people didn't even need to eat.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
God would do that. Like the Earth. The Earth is far from being perfect for man. What kind of God would make the Earth and make it 60, 70% or more water? I mean, come on, and give us such little land to live on. What God would do that? And then make most of the water on the Earth undrinkable. Again, what kind of God would do that?
Yeah. Well, just like look at the fact of the extinctions. There's been several extinctions. It's basically 90 to 99% of all life that's ever existed on this planet are now extinct. How is that intelligent design?
Yeah, it's far from intelligent. I mean, come on, that's crazy. You think if it's intelligent design, we wouldn't have where we breathe and eat through the same hole?
Yeah.
There's so many things. I mean, so many things that make so.
Oh, that reminds me. Speaking of that, it reminds me. This one pastor told me that gay homosexuality is wrong to God, and I told him, Well, then why did God put the male G-spot inside the man's ass if he didn't want men to have sex in their ass?
Yeah, exactly. He makes you that way. You believe your God has a plan, and God made you that way. Well, again, what kind of God would make you that way and then punish you for making you that way?
Right? Make it feel good, no other purpose, and then you're not supposed to do it.
Yeah, exactly, and so that's what I asked. So what kind of God would do that? And of course, they believe that sex is supposed to be between married couples. Okay, and only to have children. Okay, so that means anyone that's too old to have children, I guess, shouldn't be able to get married. Anyone that's sterile shouldn't be able to get married.
True. Or Adam and Eve were never married.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what they say.
Well, and their children weren't married.
Yeah. Well, that's a crazy story anyway. It's like Cain and Abel. One of them kills the other one, and then he goes to live with these group of people that the Bible never explains where they came from. It never explains where the Canaanites went. I believe where he went and lived with them, but it never explains where this group of people even came from.
Yeah.
If you read the Adam and Eve story, you gotta believe it's incest. Even the Great Flood, you have to believe in incest.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how did they populate the earth if mom didn't have sex with son? I mean, you have to believe in incest. There's just no way around it. The Great Flood's the same way. You have to believe in incest. You have to, because that's the only way they can repopulate the earth.
Well, I always tell people that Noah's Ark is ridiculous. Let's say that we give you that they can feed the animals. Okay, they feed all the animals, and let's say that none of the animals eat each other while they're in the in the ark, right? But remember, you let all these predators out after the ark, and everything else is dead. They're going to eat the animals you put in the ark to save. I mean, a lion's going to eat the deer or whatever, and once you eat one, there's no more deer.
And how did they get all over the earth, too? How did they do that? Of course, they can say it was just magic. God did it.
Yeah.
And that's what I asked them. What God did, okay, so, and why can't God just poop all the animals off the earth, all the plants and all the insects? Why can't he just poop them off earth? Why did he have to punish them too?
Or why use flood to begin with? If you can do anything, why not just have all the people that are living die?
Yeah, exactly.
Why drown them in a Or how about couldn't he have just killed the adults and saved all the children?
Exactly. Newborn babies and that, they were evil too. So so babies are evil now. It's crazy. And that's why this Great Flood makes no sense to me.
No, it doesn't.
It's crazy. And the fact that come on, have two of every animals out there. You would need a ship the size of disposable of the ark just for the food alone. You would need to ship that size at least.
Well, yeah, people don't realize that they were out there for a year.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to be out there for a year like that, and that's crazy. It's just insane. I mean, just how can you believe this?
Right.
Shit?
The other thing that's funny is supposedly they land on Mount Ararat. Well, Mount Ararat is like 14,000 feet high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you'd be frozen to death. How many animals?
Oh, and not that count, but all of the plants are gone. Where the fuck is the oxygen going to come from?
Exactly. But I'm saying, how many animals can't handle the cold? If it's minus degrees, everything's going to die. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, dude, humans. How many humans can,
Yeah, humans would have died in the cold.
So many crazy ones.
Yeah, it doesn't take.
Yeah, the ones that were, so just so much, and not to mention there'd been no oxygen for none of them to breathe. It was all,
right.
All the plants are gone, so where did the oxygen come from?
It's ridiculous.
And where did all the water go?
Yeah. The ice caps.
That was just magic. That God just pooped the water on the earth, and God just pooped the water off the earth. And for what reason would he need to do this? For what purpose? I mean, come on.
And like I said, how unintelligent a way to do it. If you wanted to kill the adults that were sinning, you could just have them all just die, fall dead right there.
And even with Satan, look at Satan. If God is all-knowing,
He had to know when he created Satan, Satan was going to betray him.
Yeah.
He had to know.
It's a ridiculous book with a ridiculous theme, and I tell people, here's the deal. So let's say Adam and Eve never sinned, but the tree's still there. God makes it loaded against humanity because it could be 1,000 years, but once someone eats one time from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, all of humanity is condemned. So God set it up like a guaranteed win for him, and the fact that humanity was going to lose, it's just a matter of time.
And he done it even with eating the apple that Eve had the sin to create sin. But that's like telling a 3-year-old not to stick a fork in a plug, and then they do it, and you blame them for it.
Yeah,
Come on, they didn't know right from wrong. How can you punish someone that didn't understand what they were doing was wrong in the first place?
And then punish all of humanity for that not knowing.
Yeah, forever and ever and ever. And again, what kind of loving God would do this?
Yeah, no one.
In the bloodline, so you'd have no problem for us punishing you for something your great-grandfather did. You'd have no problem with that? Well, yeah, why? It's in the bloodline. Well, what does it matter? That's why that doesn't make any sense. That's why a loving God wouldn't do that. What kind of loving God would punish me for me and every human ever born for the first 2 did? That's nuts. Makes no sense at all.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So is there anything that else you wanted to bring up, or do you have any questions for me, or?
No, not really. It's been a very interesting conversation. We think a lot alike.
Yeah.
No, it's been a very interesting conversation. And I actually like talking, about God. Not too many people want to talk with me because most of the people I know are Christian based.
Right.
It's kind of hard to find too many atheists. And most of them are either theists or are Christian. Most. Not all. My brother David, I don't know. He's kind of sort of an atheist. I don't know if I'd call him an atheist or I'd call him more of a theist than I would an atheist, I think. Same with my sister-in-law. I'd call her more a theist than I would an atheist. I'm the only out atheist, that comes right out and says what I am.
Well, my brother was probably a liberal Christian when I came out as an atheist. But then I talked to him a lot, and he tried to challenge me, and I challenged him back, and he kind of became agnostic. And then I talked to him more. Now he's an agnostic atheist, so.
Yeah, and that's what I guess I'd call myself, is an agnostic atheist. I don't believe there's a God out there. Could there be? Sure, there could be, but I'm doubtful. That's why I guess I'd call myself an agnostic atheist. An outspoken atheist, but still an agnostic atheist is what I call myself. Yeah, well,
I don't know if you've probably seen my posts. I don't believe in agnosticism at all. I think there's nothing to not know for me. Because the concept of God is not coherent, so there's nothing for me to not know. I mean, to me, it would be like saying that I don't know the Earth is flat, or me saying I'm just saying for me personally. So I am not an agnostic atheist. I don't believe in agnosticism. I believe it with ignosticism with an I, which says that the claim of God is not coherent and doesn't attach to anything real. So there's nothing for me to be speculative. I don't think that Spider-Man is real just because someone made a Spider-Man comic book.
And, sure, exactly.
So
would be, and that's what I said. Can I prove there is no God? No, I can't prove there is no God. Like I said, could there be a God? Well, I guess there could be. I don't think there could be. The Christian God, no. Anyone like that, no, I don't think that exists just simply because there's just too many inconsistencies. Could there be some God that made us maybe 1 million years ago or 2 million years ago that is now gone or something? Sure, there could have been that kind of God maybe. But the chances of that are like the chance of being Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot slim to none.
Right. Well, and did you ever watch my video about where I explain the differences of what we know? See, you did?
I believe I watched that one. Yeah, I do believe I watched
where I say there's a difference between Bigfoot, the unicorns, and aliens or God. There really is a difference. It's not equal. It's not like they all are the equal possibility. I mean, like a unicorn, we know that that's an impossibility, even though it's a tangible being that supposedly doesn't have, in general, wouldn't have magic powers, just have a horn on its head that's a horse. But if you look at the evolution, if you go back to science and you look at evolution, and you require your belief to be built off of evidence, then you cannot believe in even the possibility of a unicorn existing.
Oh, yeah.
Because you look at the evolution of a horse, and there's like 6 different stages, and not one of those stages they ever had horns.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like saying your cat is going to grow antlers. It's
Oh yeah, I'm saying exactly. If that happened, then again, it wouldn't be a cat. It would be a different.
correct. It would be a different animal. But I'm just saying. So to say that it is happening or did happen is just not following the evidence, and that's what I say.
Yeah.
That for me, the concept of God is meaningless. It has no substance. Everything that you say that could be, you have to invent something to say it could be. It's like you have to.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. Yeah, that's
So-
why I say there's slim chance of there being one.
And then the other thing is that, to me, science, they say, can't disprove God. Well, I disagree. I think science has disproved all kinds of stuff. In other words,
And lots of gods too, and lots of God myths it's disproved. I mean, come on,
Right.
at one time we thought, thunder and lightning.
right. So, or that those characteristics were part of God.
Yeah.
Or earthquakes were part of God. So I think that science has done a lot to disprove God. If science disproves all the things that supposedly God does, then you're not left with a God.
Yeah, exactly. So I would agree with you there. I would have to agree with you there. That's why I say the Christian God, no, or the Muslim God, no. That there's just too many inconsistencies for that the God even thinks about existing. There's just an impossibility there. I would agree with you there.
Yeah. Well, it's been really good talking to you, Samuel. And
Talk with you as well.
I'll of course see you on Facebook, and then I will post this. It'll take a little, like about a couple hours. I don't know. It takes forever to upload, but I will link you to it.
Okay, excellent. Do it. And read that article about the Texas and the Moses.
That's just outrageous. That's just lying.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
All right.